We could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We could also have a short moment of silence for our troops. Okay, thank you. If anybody wants to move down to the front, feel free to do so. I don't think we're going to fill every seat here tonight. This is a joint meeting of the Bohemia and Oakdale Civic Associations. We're not going to have a formal meeting tonight, given the purpose of tonight is twofold, or actually threefold. We have two quick speakers before our Meet the Candidates night for the Connecticut School Board. Only real quick order of business from Bohemia Civic is we are working on a couple of issues with the town, trying to resolve some safety concerns. If anybody has any questions about that, feel free to ask me. And I should have introduced myself for those who don't know me. I'm Patrick Fife. I am sitting in tonight. I'm a director of the Civic Association. Our president, Elisa, is at a PTA function, and I'm joined by Ed Barbara, who's the second vice president. Our other board, unfortunately, other board members are at school events and a vacation today, which was planned well in advance of tonight. So the only other, as I said, order of business was we're working on a couple of things with the town to resolve a couple of safety issues. We've been in communication with Supervisor Carpenter about some trees that we've asked to be removed that we feel are a safety hazard. A couple, in fact, the vacant home on Smithtown Avenue that I know a couple members have expressed concern about. We've reported that to the town, and we're trying to work with the town to hopefully take some kind of corrective action there. That's about it as far as updates. Again, if anybody has any questions about anything, feel free to ask one of us after the meeting, or you can always send an email to the Civic Association. Our two initial guest speakers tonight are New York State Senator Tom Croci and County Legislator Tom Silmy. They're both here tonight with us, so thank you. I am going to ask, just for the purpose of scheduling, that if it's okay with you two, that we just don't have any questions for them tonight. If you have questions, I'm sure they'll both give you their contact information. They're both very accessible, phone, email. But just because we do want to get on to the Meet the Candidates night, and I know both Senator and Legislator Silmy have, I believe, somewhere else to run to this evening. So first we will hear from New York State Senator Tom Croci. Yeah, sure. Wherever you want.
Well, thank you. Love being back at Sycamore. I made my Eagle Scout on that stage, so it's always good to be back here. And of course, my niece and nephew go here, and they love it. I'm going to give you a little update on what I've been doing in Albany. It's amazing how quickly 2 years went, but it's been 2 years since I went up there. And I probably had different ideas about what to expect than what actually is when you get to Albany. I thought we would be advancing policies that really help the state of New York 10, 15, 20 years down the road. But I find myself preventing bad stuff from happening. We spend most of our time preventing really bad stuff from happening in the state. So we play a lot of defense. Occasionally we get some offense. But there are policies that New York City centric. Remember, if you were to take a map of New York State and you look at all of the different legislatures, there's a power concentration around New York City. It's a center of gravity. And so for the island guys, it's constantly trying to pull against that and make sure that we're getting the resources and we block some bad policies. So I'll give you a couple of examples of what we're able to do in the last budget, the current budget that's now in effect. We were able to bring back a record amount of aid to education. Something around $27 billion goes to education. So my job going up there, I was told, hey, we want to be able to stay here with our grandkids, and the young families want to be able to stay here and raise their kids. That aid to education means that school board members don't have the pressure on the tax burden to raise taxes and school taxes. It means the more education aid that we bring back and give to the schools, which is what we should do, it makes the property tax pressure less. So this year, I think if you look at your school boards around the area, around Long Island, you're going to be able to see that those taxes stay stable. And you're not going to see the 7 to 8% spikes that we saw in the 90s, 7% a year, 8% a year, 9% a year, because we have a 2% tax cap in place. That's good and it's bad, but as long as we keep funding the schools at the appropriate levels, and we got rid of the gap elimination adjustment, which is just a technical way of saying a bunch of New York City folks raided the piggy bank and took a lot of money from Long Island schools. So I remember in the town of Islip, looking at the tax bills and looking at how much of it comes from our school districts. That's one of the things we're able to do, is bring about $27 billion into our education, which is good. Another thing we're able to do is get over $480 billion into transportation, upstate, downstate. One of those things is called CHIPS. So every time the town of Islip, you call them about a pothole, they need money to go and fix the pothole. Well, CHIPS is one of the things that enables them to pave more roads and fix more potholes. And after the winters we've been having, we pushed a lot of money into CHIPS. So there's record amounts of money for transportation. The things that I focus on, I think if we can keep ourselves safe in our homes and we believe in our government, then we should be pretty happy with the result. We've done a lot of legislation, passed a lot of bills. The governor signed a couple to increase penalties on drug dealers. There was actually a senator in the New York State Senate when we were passing this bill who said, I can't vote for this because those people need jobs too. They don't have jobs, and I know they're dealing drugs, but I can't vote for this because if the job market were better, I would. And I swear, I have the video, it's been posted to my website, that a senator stood up and said that, New York City based. So just so you understand what we're contending with. The other thing we've done is help veterans. The state, in the last 2 budgets, has put more money in our budgets to help state veterans, New York State veterans, and we have a lot. And we have the most in Suffolk County than any other county in the state. We have put more money in the budget for our vets than at any time in our history in New York State. So we're taking care of the people who we say we respect, and we wanted them to come home and live in New York. So we're giving them the benefits. I'm just trying to make Long Island feasible for me and my family, and you and your family for the next 25, 30 years. It's really tough. I constantly go head to head with the governor's office. They don't seem to understand Long Island or Suffolk County. We're able to get, I put my hand in his couch cushions and I take as much change as I can whenever we have the opportunity, and we send it home. Last year I was able to put about $3 million in capital money all around the 3rd Senate District, just me, and try to make sure that the institutions that you touch every day, like the town of Islip, like the county, helping them with infrastructure, helping the town of Islip with their issues. Because those are the levels of government, the county and the town, that you see every day, whether it's garbage or snow plows, or you go to the town for a permit, whatever it is. That's our job in Albany. Good policies, try to maintain policies that keep us safe in our homes, and then the legitimacy of our government. You've seen what goes on in Albany. I got to Albany and it was like all hell broke loose. Spent most of my life in uniform, and every 5 years I'm investigated by the federal government for my security clearance. I don't understand some of the behaviors that we see in government, specifically some of the corruption. Some of the stuff that you're seeing now with the mayor and the governor just boggles my mind, the former speaker and the former majority leader. I'm the new chairman of the Senate Ethics Committee, and I have proposed some pretty controversial for Albany, but I propose a lot of ethics reforms that make people who've been up there a long time very uncomfortable. Ethics reform, financial disclosures, conflict of interest disclosures for the regional economic development councils, which the governor just kind of created. Pension forfeiture. If you have a public pension and you are convicted of a felony and you've exhausted the appeals process, you should no longer have a public pension. It seems pretty simple. But there are folks in the assembly who don't want to touch it. Tom Somi has worked on this at the local level, trying to get rid of public pensions for those convicted of a felony. I proposed the bill back in December, and the Senate passed last year a pension forfeiture bill. It's resting with the Assembly and the governor right now. So I've gone up there, I've thrown some elbows, I've been able to get some good stuff done back in the district. But most of all, when I turn around and I'm on my way home from Albany and I'm on the New York State Thruway, I try to remember this is where I came from. When I come home, I face the ultimate pole, which is when I get my coffee in the morning, and there's a line, and you're talking to people, and they tell you exactly what kind of job you're doing. They give you the truest poll you'll ever get, and that's the coffee line in the morning, and they tell you exactly how you feel. I don't have my mom and dad anymore. I have my sister and her family here in Bohemia, and I have this community. And so this has been my family. When things were bad, this community was there for me and my family, and I hold that as a sacred obligation to make sure I'm taking care of the people I grew up with. If there's anything that this office can ever do to help you in any state issue, Phil Boyle is the senator to the west. He shares part of Bohemia and a lot of Connecticut. So Phil and I have split the district that we both represented. It's a natural courtesy if you call for me to say you're in Senator Boyle's district. I'll put you in touch with Senator Boyle. But if you want to come and see me, you absolutely positively come on in and set an appointment. Anything that we can do to be helpful, we want to be helpful. My office, I have great staff. Karen Pope is one of my right arms in the general office. We're over in the Hop Hog office building. So that's the motor vehicle building where you all go to get your driver's licenses. And it's not the nicest state building in the world, but it saves the Senate a lot of money that I don't have an office somewhere else. So we're saving the money, and it's very secure. So come in, you're going to be in a nice place, and my staff will take care of you. Anything that we can do to help, that's our job. I continue to do cards in the mail with little polls on them to see how you all feel about issues. Thank you very much for that feedback, because that helps shape how we approach some of the policies up there. And if there are specific items like taxes, making sure that we keep them low, making sure that there's money so that grant money for the police to do the enforcement, more money against narcotics, and specifically the heroin task force, which we brought down here. Keep the roads, clear and paved and safe, and try to help the towns with that. If there are things that we can be doing to help you stay here, that's what I want to do. Because this isn't just where we live. This is our home. So I want to thank you very much. And again, our number is 631-360-3356. You can talk to Karen, or you can talk to Eric. Either one of them will help you with whatever you need. And if we don't know the answer, we're going to put you in touch with the right person. So, thank you all. I know we're not taking questions. I'm going to turn it over to Legislator Somi. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.